Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for joining us today for Impact 5 and the benefits of shared services. I'm Merv Antonio, Director of Learning at the Center for Nonprofit Excellence. And we're glad to have Melissa Marvel with the Zoom group, Pam Darnell, a Family and Children's Place, Elizabeth Wessels-Martin with the Center for Women and Families, and Jennifer Frommeyer with Dreams with Wings. Here with us today to show us how shared services can help your organization reduce costs and risks, improve purchasing power, and operating efficiency and foster collaboration. Before we go any further, I just want to take a brief moment to review the functionality of the Zoom webinar. Right now, I have everyone on mute to avoid any background noises that might distract us from listening to the webinar. For our discussion today, we will be using the chat a little bit in just a couple of minutes. But if you do have a question, we ask that you enter that in the Q&A box. You can access that by clicking the Q&A function at the bottom of your Zoom window. If you see a question that is similar to yours or one that you want to make sure that we get to, you can tap the thumbs up icon to the left of that question, and that will move the question to the top of the queue. Feel free to ask your questions at any time, and we'll be sure to get to as many as possible by the end of the presentation today. For any questions we don't get to, by the time that we end at around 3, we'll be happy to answer offline and follow up via email. As I mentioned, the webinar is being recorded, and the link to the video will be emailed in a couple days to all those who have registered. With that, I'm happy to welcome our guests today, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Pam Darnell to get us started.
Thank you so much, Marv, and welcome to everyone who's joining us today. We are excited to share with you all our back office shared services group named Impact 5. So I'm Pam Darnell, President and CEO of Family and Children's Place. And our organization is a longstanding organization that works to prevent child abuse and neglect in our community, helping those who have been hurt to heal and get the critical services that they need. We serve about 14 counties in Kentucky and 5 counties in southern Indiana. And so each of the other CEOs that are part of Impact 5 are going to do a quick introduction of them as well. So guys, I'll ask each of you to do a brief introduction.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Wessels-Martin. I'm President and Chief Empowerment Officer at the Center for Women and Families. We are the 7 county in Kentucky and 2 counties in Indiana. We are the Domestic Intimate Partner Violence Program, Shelter, Resource Service Center, and also we serve sexual assault victims. We have been in existence for over 100 years, and every year we serve around 7,000 individuals, both through our 24/7 crisis line, our shelter services, our community services, and hospital advocacy. So we are open 24/7. We've been open through COVID-19, continue to provide those services, and we'll continue to serve as long as people need us. So thank you.
I'm Jennifer Frommeyer. I'm the Executive Director at Dreams with Wings. We are located here in Louisville. We provide a multitude of services for about 320 children and adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. The services we provide include housing, an adult day training program, a supported employment program. We provide one-on-one support, respite, summer camp programs for children, behavior interventions, and all 3 therapies, OT, PT, and speech. We primarily serve individuals in Jefferson County, but we also have outreach and serve folks in all of the other 6 counties in the 7 counties region.
Good afternoon. This is Melissa Marvel. I have to look at my Z with technical difficulties, but I am the President and CEO of Zoom Group, and similarly to Dreams with Wings, we are a provider for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. We focus primarily at the adult level, and we serve around 230 individuals and help them in areas of life skills and vocational skills, pre-employment, supported employment. We also have a flagship program that's called Studio Works for individuals who identify with art We provide a specific program that focuses on learning different mediums of art to follow those skill sets. We're in the process of launching a transportation called RideWorks that will help transport our individuals back and forth to their vocational opportunities, as well as we will soon be launching into residential housing. So that's coming in 2021. But we're pleased to be here, and I will turn it back to Pam. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. So we want to make sure that as you all are thinking about back office shared financial services, we're going to start just at the beginning of kind of telling you why we came together years ago to try to create this awesome group. And we want to encourage you all, if you have burning questions or things that you just recently thought of that you really would like to ask us, as Murph said, please put that in Q&A, because we really would love to hear as we go through the entire presentation what questions you may have, and we promise to try to answer those today. And if it's a question that we need to get to information to provide you later, we promise to do that as well. So thank you all again for being here. I'm going to start out just sharing a bit about why we decided to create IMPACT-5. So you all know, who live and work in the nonprofit sector, that with financial services, often we don't have a lot of infrastructure. And so sometimes what happens is the leaders of organizations are responsible for so many things. And then with our lack of infrastructure, often we create inefficiencies unintentionally. We often have burnout of staff because there's so many different activities that we're responsible for. We see that high turnover often happens, which also dealing with cash flow crisis, loss of funding. We often have missed opportunities because often we are focusing on so many different things. We may miss opportunities that come our way. So one example might be, some organizations lacked the capability to even try to apply for a payroll protection loan. So that's just one example of a missed opportunity. So when all these things combine, it really threatens the growth and the stability of each of our organizations. So just some of the common challenges that we all face in this industry. But I love this quote at the top of this page: nonprofits operate in a broken system like bartering chickens for tools. And that quote is directly from an amazing article called The Looking Glass of Nonprofit Money, Managing in a For-Profit Shadow Universe. And Clara Miller is the author of that article, and she was the founder and CEO of the Nonprofit Finance Fund for many years. So she knows what she's talking about. But I just wanted to kind of be a little funny about this broken system that we all must work in. And what we have found, the four of our agencies have found, that combining our efforts and creating this new financial back office services really can be an answer. And so this probably looks pretty familiar to a lot of us. Sometimes it feels like this every day. But what we are living with is that the demands for high levels of accountability, increasingly sophisticated information management, verification of our program quality, our outcomes, our impacts, all of these are growing. And funding, regulatory, and public expectations are increasing the pressure on all of us in the nonprofit sector, and it really puts pressure on our infrastructure. So we have to think differently. We are required to innovate new approaches that we can support the accountability and the quality services that we all want to provide. So what are shared services? Well, there are organizations across our country who are doing some shared services, maybe sharing office spaces. CNPE is a good example of that in the art space. And some are sharing equipment, some are sharing staff and program resources. But you can see here how we define as a broad collaborative use of resources across traditional organizational boundaries. And there really are some awesome benefits when we think about crossing traditional boundaries and sharing our resources in the way that you're going to learn about how we're doing today. And some of those benefits include being able to provide services at a reduced cost, offering financial services that might even be for special projects. And some of our organizations we know that have smaller infrastructures, often they have special needs that may not require a full-time person. So these are just some ways that as you hear the program today and you think about, well, why are you guys doing this and how can this help me? You can think about some of that as well. And really, we felt compelled to create Impact 5 because we know that there have been a lot of changes in our sector. All of us are experiencing declining support, the costs are rising, changes in regulation, especially when the Kentucky Medicaid expanded. It really quickly created some major changes for a lot of organizations. And so many organizations really are struggling with all of the changes that we're facing right now with declining support, rising costs, and regulatory changes. And so this is just really the introduction as to why we decided to create this back office shared services that is called Impact 5. And now I'm going to turn it over to Elizabeth Wessels Martin.
Oh, there we go. Thanks, Pam, and thanks for everybody who has joined us today to learn more about Impact 5. Who are we? We are 4 successful nonprofit agencies who are responsible for the vision creation and the development of Impact 5. The founding agencies include myself, Center for Women and Families, Dreams with Wings, Family and Children's, and Zoom Group. Of course, you've met all the CEOs. And these agencies, visionary pillars, our visionary pillars in the community, have combined budgets of nearly $23 million and employ over 300 individuals. Next slide, please. So how did we get here? So Impact 5 created a community advisory board. And at the time, Dan Fox and Pam Darnell, who worked together, they came across information. It is called MAC Commonwealth, and they are based out of Minnesota. And they've been in existence for approximately 18 years. And so they gave them a call to learn more about what is a shared service organization and how can this benefit the nonprofits? How can it benefit my nonprofit? And so at that time, they pulled together several CFOs from other nonprofits and started brainstorming, started having conversations about, is this something that could be possible here in Louisville? Is there something that could help the nonprofits, all of us that we sit in these meetings together and struggle with how we make ends meet and how we get everything done. And so another opportunity that came along is the Encore class, part of Leadership Louisville, chose Impact 5 as an organization. They wanted to help. They made developing a sound business plan the project of Encore. And at that time, it was the members of Paul Franz, Peggy, I'm not sure I can say her name, Craig Grant, Beth Delutsky, and Chris Herman. And we still keep in touch with some of those folks today. Some of the original CEOs that were brought to the table was my predecessor, Marta Miranda Straub, who is now the commissioner of the Kentucky Department of Community-Based Services, Judy Lambeth, who just recently retired as president and CEO of Maryhurst, Abby Drain, and Suzanne Bergmeister. And all of these individuals have now moved to the Impact 5 advisory board in which we consult with. When Impact 5 originally started, as we all know, nonprofits, we don't have extra money just laying around where we can start innovative work, something that we all dream about having. And so at the time they reached out, they wrote grants and reached out to several of the private foundations here in the Louisville area and received funding from the Gaines Foundation, the Mildred V. Horn Foundation, Lift a Life, the Lodestar Foundation, Community Foundation, and the James Graham Brown Foundation. And again, these are foundations that we continue to have conversation with and letting them know how we're doing and the successes that we're having. As we all know, starting in an innovative business is never easy, but we're pleased to, and we're going to share with you some of the successes that we're having. So to give you an idea of our timeline, so in 2012, those conversations started with the MAC Commonwealth Group and with the individuals, Pam, Dan Fox, and other CFOs. They started those conceptual conversations about the what ifs. How could we? What would this look like? And then in 2015, they reached out to the private foundations to receive the generous funding that the partners gave to IMPACT-5. In 2017, the collaborative partners and the incorporation began for IMPACT-5. So IMPACT-5 is an LLC, and it was incorporated at that time. We moved into phase 1 of the business plan. And in 2018, we actually established IMPACT-5 headquarters. We are located on the 2nd floor of Shalom Towers, have a beautiful office space up there. And we all have staff from our finance department that works in that space every day. We also developed, we decided we needed to have a uniform platform. What would that look like? And so we did a lot of research, looked at all the different platforms, all the technology and the accounting and payroll software. And so we are now all using Paycom for our payroll. And we went to a unified accounting system of NetSuite. So we're all using that as well. And we developed a unified chart of accounts. So again, the 4 of us have established uniform systems in which we're doing all of our payroll and our financials by. In 2019, we began to identify areas of expertise. And so we decided it was time to take all the staff that are currently working together and to do a lot of cross-training. We did a beta client, tested things out. What is this gonna look like? What are some of the things that we can learn from each other, and what are some of the areas of opportunities in which we need to strengthen? And it was a great experience. Not only did we learn from each other, but a lot of great relationships have developed in terms of, hey, you know this a little bit better than I do. Can you teach me this? Can you show me this? So a tremendous amount of skill strengthening has occurred and continues. In 2020, we started taking new customers. We are currently talking to several. I think I've lost track of the number of clients or potential customers that we're talking with. We just are bringing on another client. And so one of the really neat things that you're going to hear about is some of the individualized, tailored contracts, if you will, or services that we're providing to individuals. So it's not a cookie cutter. It's not a one suit fits everybody, but what are your needs as a nonprofit, and how can IMPACT-5 meet those? So now I'm going to turn over to Jennifer Fromeyer, and she's going to take you a little bit deeper into IMPACT-5.
So when we look at what IMPACT-5 really is and what it means to us that are the active partners and those folks that are now currently receiving services is, we're an affordable shared service model who is focused on providing professional expertise, best practices, and gold standards in our nonprofit industry. This helps us all to overcome the challenges that many of us confront daily, and sometimes moment by moment. So the next slide is going to reflect our mission. So it was very important to all of us when we came together that one of the premises was to look at the best practices for the shared services so we could provide quality, efficient, and affordable administrative and management services for nonprofit agencies in our communities. And with that, our vision is to free nonprofit agencies from the burdens of managing all of the administrative service activities so that we can focus energies on our core mission. And now more than ever with COVID, having the backbone of our business departments, our accounting departments functioning and clicking on all cylinders has really freed all of us up so that we could focus on all the ongoing, continual, minute-by-minute, daily changes and challenges we are experiencing due to COVID-19. And that includes things such as staff turnover, being able to pivot and change the things that we're doing minute by minute to comply with all the needs and changes that we're experiencing in our community today. So again, when we look at why we're relevant, certainly the pandemic has brought a lot of change and a lot of need for pivoting. One of the things that Elizabeth referred to early on was moving to common platforms with our use of NetSuite, which is primarily what we use, but we also have customers using QuickBooks and other platforms. We've been able to convert and move quickly to working from home and not miss a beat in terms of providing the financial information that not only our not-for-profits need, but our customers. We have our current social issues, certainly the economic conditions, and then the demands for and fewer support resources. I think we just talked about that last week as some of our staff or our businesses go through changes. We are looking at ways that we can support each other, perhaps streamline services so more and more of our dollars can go to our programs. So these forces press leaders of not-for-profit organizations to divide their time and efforts between programming and managing a broad range of back office demands. So as we look at the nonprofit health and social service industries, where nonprofits play critical roles in delivering highly regulated services for fragile individuals, it has become more and more important to have our business practices and our accounting practices shored up to ensure our existence as we move forward. So why we are the solution? So the 7 attributes of world-class shared services include skilled people, effective leadership, trained compliance experts, specialized customer relations, high employee engagement, leading edge systems and technology, and collaboration and communication. In other words, the ability to be productive. So we have brought many of these things to the table. We are certainly continuing to grow and improve on these things, but why we are the solution for many not-for-profits, especially small not-for-profits, is we bring those things together and take them off your plate. One of our first customers was FEAT, the acronym FEAT, which stands for Families for Effective Autism Treatment. And Ann Gregory, who is their founding board member, found the agency and is now a board member, her statement was, FEAT continues to benefit from teaming up with IMPACT5 for FEAT's accounting needs. Their technology is easy to use and the weekly updates are very helpful. If we've missed some uploading on our end, we highly recommend their services. FEAT's story is their CEO left unexpectedly, and they were left trying to pick up some pieces. And the CEO that left was taking bags of receipts and things to a small accounting firm and found they were being put on the back burner. We have totally put this group onto a virtual platform, sending everything electronically to us, and the turnaround is so quick. Their financials are ready for their board meetings 2 days in advance. They don't have to call and ask for it. Certainly there was a learning curve, but within probably 2 weeks, we were moving them very quickly forward. So, and now I'm going to turn it over to Melissa, who's going to talk about the positive outcomes for not only our 4 partners, but the agencies that we're now supporting at IMPACT5.
Thank you, Jennifer. And yes, you've heard from the other CEOs. We've shared a lot of information with you about how it came to fruition. Each one of us, how it has really benefited our agents. We move IMPACT5 forward is how it can be positive for other nonprofits such as yours. How can you benefit? If the idea of having a third party handle your finance and accounting records scares you, we understand and we respect that. But IMPACT5, our primary objective is to become your trusted advisor, your back office support, and help you be able to focus on your mission. We've spoken a lot about the platforms that we have generalized within our founding agencies, but it's very important to you know that we are customer service minded. And so when we are onboarding new customers, we are looking at the softwares that are on the marketplace that are appropriate and right-sized with that agency's needs. So we have individuals on our staff that are quite capable in a variety of softwares: QuickBooks, Peachtree, MAS 90, Oracle, just a variety. So you don't have to feel like if you're coming and speaking with Impact 5, that we won't be able to have some agility in our platforms that we work with you. Additionally, we work with a multitude of payroll providers. We currently serve ADP, Paycom, Paycor, Patriot. Let's see here, I'm trying to think, there's one, and just QuickBooks payroll itself, a full service payroll within QuickBooks itself. So just knowing that we are here to really look at how we can speak with you about the needs of your organization, keeping your goals and objectives in mind, and make Impact 5 a crucial part of your team, so that eventually, like us, in the founding group, you can hopefully sleep restfully at night, knowing that your financial back office is in good order. So the positive outcomes, as you can see, is the mere fact that we can help you streamline your financial situation, and we can reduce administrative overhead, and so on and so forth. So for you and the founding agencies of Impact 5, it's a positive outcome for both the nonprofit agencies and the communities and the folks that we serve within our communities. So today I want to share with you where we are in our development, because Impact 5 is launching in phases. We have shared successfully what's going on in phase 1, and then phase 2 will be the future idealistic goals that we have. But today we are providing customers full service accounting, bookkeeping, payroll, and if you need an outsourced CFO to present to your board of directors, we're doing that as well. We will do, in addition to doing the work, we provide consulting services to help the organizations set up processes that will allow them to take over and feel confident that they are able to maintain the documentation without us. So perhaps you have received a large grant with very specific grant requirements. We are more than happy and willing to come in and assist with setting up those processes to make sure that you're meeting the expectations of the grant reporting requirements, and so forth. So we have an array of services that we can provide to you. And as Impact 5 grows, we've begun already working in areas of strategic planning and HR. We assist nonprofits with assessing job descriptions and looking at their organizational chart to make sure that internal controls are in place. But down the road, we hope to leverage our size to set up procurement and health benefit plans that we can all share in the cost savings. And along the way, we're here to build relationships. So again, what we want to share with you is the overall value proposition, and that is on the next slide, please. And that is, it's simple. It's that we are bringing to you finance and accounting skilled workforce, individuals with expertise in the field. Through operations, we can assist with effective leadership. We can work through process flows, workflows. Compliance, we bring to the table experts that are trained in those areas specific to the agency's needs. And we focus on specialized customer relations so that we are that trusted advisor. And then we are also there with technology, utilizing a myriad of different types of softwares, and we have knowledge base of many. So we can really utilize and leverage the technology that's available, as well as the cloud, to produce product efficiently and effectively. And lastly, the win-win is affordability for all the stakeholders. So will conclude on the next slide with we welcome the opportunity for you to learn more, and we would like to provide free consulting to those who are interested. And we would also like to open the floor for question and answers at this time. So we are very appreciative of your time and attention. And again, we've been sharing a lot of information with you, but we welcome your questions at this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Melissa, and thank you all for your presentation today. We have a couple folks online, so Amy and Beverly, if you have any questions, you know, you don't have to put them in the Q&A. You could basically ask them. So if you want to ask a question, just let me know in the chat, and I'll open up your mic there, and you go ahead and ask the questions directly. So, and let us know too if you don't have any, so that we can proceed accordingly. But to get us started, I actually do have a question for the folks here. You mentioned a free consult. What is that process like? If someone wants to talk to you all, is it just a conversation, or is there more of a formal process with that?
Merv, it's Melissa. More often than not, the inquiries start with a basic phone call, and then depending on the need, it may be a brief conversation, but typically we will have that initial just conversation and then set up a time to have an in-depth consult to delve more into what their goals and objectives are, if they've lost an accounting staff person, or if they're in need of assistance with payroll, if it's a startup nonprofit. I mean, it's a variety of nonprofit opportunities and needs, but just we are open to phone calls, we're open to emails of inquiry, and then we would be looking at setting up a follow-up on that to delve into those details.
Okay, great. So if they want more information, because we are recording this and we'll make it available to folks, we'll probably also include it in our e-news or e-blast, the recording, so people can, who didn't get a chance to participate today, can access this and replay it at their leisure. CEO at impact5llc.com, or Melissa Marvel at the phone numbers is probably the best way. Is that right?
Yes, sir. That's it.
Okay, great. Amy does have a comment here in the chat. She said, I honestly have worked for many small nonprofits that could really benefit from shared services. I'm interested in passing along your information to former employers. So that's great, Amy. We'll also get the information to you, follow up with everyone with an email with all Melissa's and Impact 5's contact information, so that people have it. Would it be possible, folks, to get a copy of this presentation so we can share it to others who are able to join on the call?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes, for sure.
Great. Okay. Any other questions, Beverly? If you're still there, if you have a question, Beverly's with Neighborhood House, if I'm wrong, right? If you have any questions, let us know. Amy has another comment. Great idea, something the nonprofit world has needed for a long time. Yes, Amy, I totally agree. Now more than ever, you know, with resources on many levels being a struggle for many. So thank you for that.
And you know, Mark, this is Pam. I will share this really simple story.
Yes, please.
When I was executive director of the former family place, we were a small agency, less than $2 million budget. And I cannot tell you, I would keep an accounting manager. I had one accounting person for the whole agency, but I would be replacing that person like every 3 to 4 years. And I remember vividly, so frustrated, picking up the phone book and flipping through, trying to find an outsource resource that I wouldn't have to constantly be filling this vacancy. And I remember vividly talking to an accounting firm, and the person on the phone said to me, well, we have no idea how to help a nonprofit create their budget, do invoicing, and do your payroll. We just would have no idea how to do that. So that, seriously, that was over 20 years ago. So, you know, we are just grateful to CNPE to be able to share where we are today. We really are committed to helping nonprofits to do their work and to focus on their mission. So thank you, Marvin, CNPE, for this time.
Well, thank you, Pam. And that's amazing. That 20 years ago, and you know, I know in having conversations pre-COVID with nonprofits, both small and large, that this topic has come up more than once. So I know that there's a lot of interest out there for, you know, just having to be more efficient if one can, especially during this time.
Right.
Beverly said that she had talked with IMPACT-5 back in January, then COVID happened, on the back burner, but might bring it again to the forefront. So that's great to hear. I hope it does, because I think, again, you know, COVID has changed the way we've done business. And like they say, you can't let a good pandemic go to waste. So we want to make sure that, you know, we try to be as conscious and as efficient and as productive as possible, especially in this time. So, and she's in the midst of an audit now, so good luck. I know how challenging that is.
Merv, and just one last thing to add, you know,
Yes.
there are many nonprofits, small agencies that have also sought PPP during this COVID or EIDL loans, and that is one of the huge, tremendous benefits that we as a collaborative group have benefited from. So if any of the nonprofits are out there that need any of assistance with those related opportunities, you know, within the COVID need, feel free to reach out to us as well, because we're more than happy to assist.
Yeah, that's great. I also heard from a lot of nonprofits during PPP that you know, they would love to have even applied, but they were so resource struggled. I mean, these resources,
Yes.
both human and time, that they weren't able to yeah, even get the process started. So that's great.
Yeah, so we are here for assisting them in applying and or to work with the forgiveness portion of that process as well.
Great. We can call it a day.
Thank you, Merv.
All right, folks. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
everyone, for
Thank you so
joining.
much.
Have a great
you.
day.